Ever feel like, well, those ancient worlds are just way too far gone
Yeah,
to give us any kind of guidance for how we live now?
right.
Well, get ready to rethink that because you and I,
Yeah.
we get to open up letters from a Stoic by Seneca.
It's like peeking into the
Oh,
inbox
is it really?
of a top Roman advisor,
Wow.
full of wisdom that still resonates today, surprisingly.
Okay, so we're not talking about some, I don't know, toga-wearing philosopher
No.
up on a mountaintop somewhere writing about abstract ideas, right?
Not at all, no. He was in the thick of it, really.
He was really in it.
This guy, he was advising Emperor Nero.
Oh, advising Nero, I can only imagine.
Yeah, advising Nero probably gave him
Oh,
a lot to think about, a lot to write about.
yeah, exactly.
But through his letters to his friend Lucilius,
Yeah.
Seneca, he digs into these big questions, about virtue, about happiness,
Right.
and how to find meaning in a world that just feels so chaotic.
Yeah, and one of those ideas that keeps popping up, at least for me, is this whole concept of living in accordance with nature, which
Right.
sounds a little, I don't know, a little far out there for me. Like I need to trade my smartphone in for a pair of hiking boots and just go live in the woods.
I know it sounds like that, but it's really a more nuanced idea.
Okay.
You see, Seneca believed that we as humans, we have this capacity for reason,
Okay.
which sets us apart.
Right.
And it's through reason that we can align ourselves with that natural order of things.
Okay.
So it's not so much about physically being out in the wilderness. It's more about truly recognizing and accepting the way things are.
Okay.
And this is key, reacting to those things, whatever they may be, with reason.
So instead of just kind of getting swept up in like the anxiety, the anger,
Exactly.
all that stuff that we feel.
All the negativity,
Yeah.
you can use your reason to find a calmer, more centered perspective.
So it's about recognizing that we're not going to be able to control everything that happens.
Right.
But we can control how we respond to it.
It's about our response.
Okay.
He believed that by using reason to navigate challenges, we could find peace.
Even when everything's going crazy.
Especially when life throws you a curveball.
Yeah. And believe me, life's been throwing curveballs lately, so
There you go.
that's a skill. I think, I'm speaking for myself, but I think we all could use a little bit more of these days, so.
Absolutely.
So living in accordance with nature, that's really about finding that balance.
That inner balance.
Okay, what else did Seneca have to say about finding happiness then?
Well, he was pretty adamant, true happiness, it's not about wealth.
Okay.
It's not about status.
It's not about what you have.
It's not about the externals. In fact, he actually said,
What would he say?
not happy, he who thinks himself not so.
Okay.
It's a powerful reminder that contentment comes from within.
Yeah.
It's not something you can buy or achieve. It's an internal state.
Right. It's like that saying,
What's that?
comparison is the thief of joy.
I like that.
Seneca was really onto something like we have a choice in how we see our situation, no matter what's going on around us.
Regardless of your circumstances.
Right.
And that was radical, especially for the time he was living in.
Yeah, it still is.
Ancient Rome, he was all about extravagance, luxury.
Oh, yeah.
But Seneca, he saw through that.
He did.
He saw luxury as a distraction,
Interesting.
an obstacle to true happiness.
It's like our obsession now with social media.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can get so caught up in
Totally.
chasing those likes
It's a never-ending cycle.
and presenting this perfect image of ourselves that, I don't know, you lose sight of what actually matters.
Absolutely. You lose yourself in the process.
Yeah, what really fulfills us.
He saw a lot of that around him.
I bet.
People chasing empty pleasures,
Oh, yeah.
And he truly believed that fulfillment came from living a life of purpose.
Purpose over pleasure.
Purpose over pleasure.
Okay, I like it, yeah.
A life of virtue, not from just accumulating things.
So how do we shift that focus, though?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
From more, right?
Yeah.
To just appreciating what we have.
Contentment.
Yeah, contentment.
That's the key.
Did he offer any practical advice on, cultivating contentment?
He did, and that's what I love about his letters.
Okay.
He didn't just talk about this big, lofty philosophy. He gave real advice
Oh, okay.
on everything, dealing with grief, coping with illness.
Okay, so no ancient Roman self-help books.
No, not quite.
But maybe something even better, right?
Personal letters with real, genuine advice.
Oh, I like that.
And one thing he stresses is the importance of friendship.
Okay.
He really believed that strong, genuine connections, they're essential for a good life.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He even goes so far as to compare superficial relationships to, get this, business deals.
Oh.
where each person is just looking out for themselves.
Ouch, that's a gut punch.
It makes you think, right?
Yeah, it really does make you think about your own relationships, are they?
The quality of them.
Yeah, the quality. Are they just surface?
He believed true friendship is about mutual support.
Okay.
Loyalty, being there for each other no matter what.
Through thick and thin?
Through thick and thin. He sets a high bar.
He does.
He says a true friend is someone to be able to die for, someone I may follow into exile, someone for whose life I may put myself up as security and pay the price as well.
Wow, talk about friendship goals.
Yeah.
But in a world where, I don't know, we're bombarded with all these connections online.
Superficial connections.
It's a good reminder.
It is.
To invest in those deeper relationships.
The ones that truly matter.
Yeah.
The ones that feed your soul.
And speaking of investing in ourselves.
Yes.
Seneca also had some interesting thoughts on education.
Oh, this is a good one.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
He wasn't a fan of just studying to get a high-paying job.
Really?
No. He called those unworthy studies.
Ah, interesting.
He saw practical skills as valuable only if they helped develop the mind.
So it's not about that piece of paper.
No.
It's not about the career path.
It's about what you learn.
Yeah.
And how it shapes you as a person.
Okay, it's about the journey.
The journey of learning.
Okay.
He believed that true education, it cultivates wisdom and virtue.
So it helps us become better human beings.
That's the goal.
I like that.
He said there's only one truly liberal study.
What's that?
The pursuit of wisdom, because it's the only thing that truly frees us.
I love that.
Right.
It's a great reminder that learning should be about more than just earning a paycheck.
So much more.
It should be about expanding our minds,
Yes.
challenging our perspectives.
Absolutely.
And Seneca wasn't afraid to challenge the status quo.
Oh, no, not at all.
Even when it came to the philosophers of his time.
He called them out.
Really?
Yeah, he criticized them for getting bogged down in trivial details.
Like what?
Oh, analyzing syllables.
Oh, boy.
Instead of focusing on the big stuff, like how to live a better life.
How to actually live.
Exactly.
It's like he's saying, enough with the academic jargon.
Right.
Just tell me how to navigate this thing called life.
Give me the practical stuff.
Yeah, the practical stuff.
He wanted philosophy to be actionable.
Okay.
Something that could actually help people live better, more meaningful lives.
So action over words.
Exactly.
Put it into practice.
But how do we put these ideas into practice?
That's the question.
What specific advice did he offer for dealing with all the ups and downs of life?
Well, he covered a lot of ground.
Well, he seems to have covered just about everything else. So
It seems like it, yeah.
what about, how to deal with those curveballs, life's curveballs,
Right.
like illness?
Yeah, he actually wrote a whole letter about facing illness with courage
Really?
and acceptance. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, so he wasn't all about tough love then, was he?
No.
Did he at least acknowledge how difficult it is?
To deal with physical pain.
Oh, absolutely. He doesn't sugarcoat it at all.
Okay.
He acknowledges that it's tough, but he keeps emphasizing, its temporary nature.
Okay.
He actually writes,
What did he say?
"There is room for heroism, I assure you, in bed as anywhere else. A person's bravery is no less evident under the bedclothes."
Okay, so even when you're at your physical weakest,
Yeah,
you can still find strength, mental strength.
exactly. He's really driving home that point that we have a choice, even when it feels like we don't.
Yeah.
We can choose how we respond, even when adversity is knocking at the door.
Okay.
And he's really encouraging us to find contentment from within.
Even when our body's like, no thank you,
Even then, yeah.
it's about focusing on what you can control,
Right.
your thoughts, your attitude,
Yeah.
even when your body's not cooperating.
And he even takes it a step further.
Does he?
He suggests that illness shouldn't be an excuse
Oh.
to abandon our duties, to stop learning, to stop growing.
Wow.
Even when we're physically limited, we can still engage in those intellectual pursuits,
Right.
offer guidance, be there for people.
It's a powerful message about, meaning and purpose,
It really is.
no matter what's going on.
Exactly.
So I imagine he had similar insights when talking about grief and loss then.
He does talk about losing loved ones,
Yeah.
and he actually encourages us to be more honest
More honest
about those less than glamorous human experiences.
You mean like sharing our bad days?
Yeah, and struggles with friends instead of just posting perfect pictures online.
Right. Okay.
It's funny you say that because he uses this analogy.
What's that?
Being haunted by a catchy tune, you just can't get it out of your head.
Oh, yeah, I know that feeling.
He compares that to bad advice.
Bad advice.
Saying you list around long after you've heard it,
Oh, yeah.
comes back to haunt you.
So be careful who you take advice from.
Exactly, especially in our world of,
Oh, I know. Influencers and
It's
gurus.
more relevant than ever, right?
Right.
And he was also wary of just following the crowd,
Okay, yeah.
doing things just because they were popular.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
He talks about how the masses, they're so easily swayed,
I mean, yeah, look at us.
prone to those fleeting pleasures and superficial status.
So he'd have a lot to say about our obsession with celebrity culture then.
Oh, I'm sure he would.
Did he offer any alternatives to that kind of lifestyle?
He did, and it's surprisingly simple.
What's that?
He says, cling to this sound and wholesome plan of life. Indulge the body just so far as suffices for good health. Your food should appease your hunger, your drink quench your thirst, your clothing keep out the cold, your house be a protection against inclement weather.
It's back to basics.
It is.
It sounds like he's advocating for a more minimal approach
It's about stripping away the excess.
and focusing on what truly matters.
Health, your relationships, your purpose.
Right, because those are the things that matter.
Those are things that bring true fulfillment.
Right, okay.
Not all the stuff we accumulate.
But I'm also curious, what about pleasure?
What about it?
Did he think we should just live these completely austere lives?
No, not at all. I mean, remember he was living in ancient Rome.
That's true, they knew how to have a good time.
They invented the good time.
They did.
But he was critical of those who made pleasure their top priority,
Okay, yeah.
especially when it came at the expense of virtue and reason.
So it's about finding that balance, enjoying those pleasures,
Of course, yeah.
but not letting them become, the main course.
He actually called out those Romans, the ones who were so obsessed with luxury.
What'd he call them?
He called them the daylight-shy partygoers.
The daylight-shy partygoers.
They basically live their lives in reverse,
How do you live your life in reverse?
sleeping all day and partying all night.
Ooh, talk about night owls.
Right.
But why did he find their lifestyle so objectionable? I mean, it sounds kind of fun.
I know, it does sound kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
But he saw it as rejecting the natural order,
Okay.
a distortion of life's natural rhythms.
Why?
He compares them to chickens being fattened up in the dark,
Oh, wow.
suggesting that this constant chase for pleasure, it leads to a kind of
What?
spiritual and intellectual atrophy.
So basically you just become a blob.
In a sense, yeah.
And I guess you can see that parallel today.
Oh, absolutely.
Our 24/7 culture.
We're constantly bombarded with information, stimulation.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught in that cycle of working late,
Staying up late.
never disconnecting.
It's like we're all becoming daylight-shy partygoers.
In a way, yeah. And, he was writing at a time
Yeah.
when Rome was at its peak, power extravagance.
Wow.
And he was already warning against excess
It's like he knew.
and the importance of staying grounded in what matters.
Right.
And, his observations about human nature. The pitfalls of pleasure seeking, they still resonate.
I do.
They feel so relevant,
It's like he's talking to us across the centuries.
isn't it?
It is.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so if we're going to avoid the fate of those daylight-shy partygoers,
Right.
what does Seneca suggest we do?
That's the big question.
How do we find that balance?
Between enjoying life,
Mhm.
but staying true to our values.
Right, exactly. So if we're constantly told, you need more to be happy,
Right. Buy more, be more.
but Seneca's over here saying embrace the simple life. What does that even look like? Was he saying we should all give up our possessions and live in poverty?
Not exactly, no. I mean, it's important to remember that Seneca himself, he was a wealthy guy.
Okay, that's true.
And he wasn't suggesting we all, take a vow of poverty or anything. He recognized that having some level of comfort materially, it can be beneficial.
So it's not about the things themselves.
No.
It's more about our relationship to those things.
Exactly. It's the attachment, you see.
Okay.
That's what he was worried about.
The stuff, yeah.
The way we chase after more and more, it distracts us
Oh, I totally.
from what truly matters.
Yeah.
He wants us to ask, are these things serving me?
Or are you serving them?
Or am I serving them? You got it.
It's a good question to ask, especially, in our world of
Oh, my God.
one-click purchases and
Instant gratification.
yeah, instant gratification.
It's all about mindfulness,
So being more deliberate about what we bring into our lives.
Exactly. And not just material things.
Oh, okay.
Our time, too, he saw that as the most precious resource.
Oh, for sure.
He actually tells this story about a wealthy Roman, Pacuvius, I think his name was.
Okay.
This guy, he held a mock funeral, get this, for himself.
A mock funeral for himself.
Every single day.
What? Every day?
Every day,
Why?
he would have this lavish feast,
Okay.
and then he'd be carried to bed on a bier.
Like in a funeral procession.
like a funeral
Okay,
procession.
that's a little dark, don't you think?
It's a little out there, I'll grant you that, but
Wow.
it was his way of remembering that every day could be his last.
Okay, so memento mori.
Exactly.
Appreciate the present moment.
Yes, don't take it for granted.
I mean, I get it, but I don't think I need a daily funeral to remind me.
Seneca would say we should live each day as if it were our last.
Not in a morbid way, but
Not in a morbid way, no, but to really appreciate this gift we've been given.
to make the most of it.
To focus on what truly matters, spend time on things that are meaningful, that are worthwhile.
It's easy to forget, I think,
It is.
especially with, just how busy life gets.
You get caught up in the hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
Forget to slow down. Just, savor the moment.
Appreciate the simple things. Yeah.
And it's really cool.
What's that?
Seneca, he lived this way.
Really?
He wasn't just preaching from some ivory tower.
Oh, okay.
He was living it out in the middle of ancient Rome,
With all the chaos.
with all of it, all the challenges.
It's one thing to talk about virtue and contentment when, things are good.
Yeah,
But what about when you're facing real adversity?
right. And Seneca, he had his fair share of challenges, right?
Oh, I bet he did, yeah.
I mean, he was an advisor to Nero.
That's true.
Talk about a stressful job.
Yeah, that was like the definition of a stressful job, right?
And then he was exiled.
Oh, right.
But he faced it all with this incredible resilience.
He found his strength in his philosophy.
He did.
So it's not just a good times philosophy,
No.
it's for the tough times too.
For all times, it's a way of life.
It's a way to face all those ups and downs
With courage,
with wisdom.
that inner peace, that sense of contentment he talked about.
It's like he's giving us a map, right?
That's a great way to put it.
To live a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
No matter what life throws your way.
It's about finding contentment now.
Yes.
Embracing simplicity.
Building those strong connections
Facing our fears head on.
and living each day to the fullest.
I like it.
Seneca's letters, they give us this timeless guide
They do.
to navigating all the ups and downs of life.
And it's amazing how his wisdom, it still resonates.
Centuries later.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Seneca's letters,
Yeah.
the question we leave you with is this. What will you carry forward?
What insights really struck a chord with you?
What changes will you make?
To live a life that's more in line with your values.
With a deeper appreciation for each and every day.
Until next time.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.